David Phillips, and I'm the CEO of Estate Planning Specialist. Our headquarters are in Arizona. We have clients in every state in the United States and actually a lot of foreign countries. We're going to talk today about estate planning. What is it? And I can tell you that at this particular moment in history, as you see here on the slide, the rhino did have a clue that estate planning was taking place. But the daddy bird says to the baby bird, "Someday, son, this will all be yours," referring to the Serengeti. So what do all these celebrities have in common? And I'm going to, let me just, before you blurt it out, have a copy of my book, The 10 Most Common Estate Planning Mistakes and How to Avoid Them, for the first person. Now, before you answer, be the first person that can tell me what these all have in common. Now, I will also tell you that at the end of my presentation, you'll all be entitled to receive a copy of this book, even if you don't know the answer to this question. But you'll be able to get it only if you fill out the golden ticket, okay? Or you receive a golden ticket by filling out the evaluation forms that you have with you. So you turn in the evaluation forms to myself or Ron Blauvelt. Would you raise your hand? Ron's my associate helping me today. And turn the evaluation form in, get the golden ticket, go across the hallway to the Salerno room, and you'll get my book, The 10 Most Common Estate Planning Mistakes. And you won't really need to take a lot of notes for this particular part of our program. Okay, so what do these celebrities all have in common? Huh? They died. Okay, so you get a copy of my book, make sure you see me. They all have died, okay? And some of them had really good estate plans, and some of them didn't have anything at all. In fact, most of these were pretty much without an estate plan. And you can read a lot about celebrities, what happened to celebrities, because they make the news. It's us common folk that don't really get the news, but we have to have an estate plan in place. And so that's the number one mistake, not having a plan, an antiquated plan, a plan that's too old, 10 years old, 15. We've had a major tax reform act just occur in 2012. Is your estate up to date based on those changes? When you marry, when you move, when you have children, grandchildren, all these things are dynamics that make it so that you need to make sure that your plan is in place and it's a logical plan. And the reason is because the Egyptians were wrong. You can't take it with you. You have to have a distribution strategy from one generation to the next. The nation as a whole has been using Rip Van Winkle as their role model, sleeping it off, hoping everything will take care of itself. 70% of you in this room do not have a logical plan in place to distribute your wealth from one generation to the next. And that's what estate planning is. So what's the solution? You need to get educated. You need to have a clear understanding as to what it is your goals are and what you want to accomplish. Not the goals and aspirations of some attorney, but your goals and your dreams. And so what I recommend that you do is get educated. The second thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that you have your estate analyzed, a comprehensive analysis of what it is that you want to do, your objectives from start to finish, your roadmap. And this is estate analysis that you can get with our firm and other firms, but make sure you have this roadmap, this plan in place, a logical distribution plan. Go to our website, and for you folks that are watching online, it's very easy. It's at www.epmez.com. Just go to our website and browse around and see and read a lot of the articles that are there. But there's a lot of stuff on the internet right now to help educate you. You might want to pre-order my book, Estate Planning Made Easy, Volume 4, the 4th edition. That'll be out here sometime shortly. And pre-order that, or at least let us know that you want that, and we'll make sure that you get a copy of that. Okay, mistake number 2. Believing that the Taxpayer Relief Act of 2012 really hit the mark. Now, we know that estate taxes are always going to change. But remember, it's not just estate taxes that we have to be concerned about. But for the years 1940 to 1975, the highest tax bracket was 75%. So we know that it is something that's always on the mind. It's a moving target. It is not something that is stagnant. Currently, though, we can pass $5.34 million to our family, federal estate tax free. And we can also gift, while we are alive, the same amount. Since 2011, those two things have been uniformed, the gift and the federal estate tax. And it's pretty awesome. But who knows how long it's going to stay there. Obama's got his own agenda. And his agenda is that he wants to reduce it to 3.5. He also wants us to lose the step up in basis. And that would be huge if that were to occur. Any gain that we have on an asset, we currently can pass to our heirs federal estate tax free and then capital gains tax free if it's under the exclusion, the estate tax if it's under the exclusion. But it's also capital gains tax free. Well, he wants to do away with that. And then, of course, cap our IRA accounts at $3.4 million. And the biggest one of all is reduce the stretch on the IRA to the non-spousal beneficiaries to 5 years. That'll be huge. We'll talk more about that later. Okay, so what is the solution? Well, I want you to remember the first and most important estate planning commandment, and that is to plan for the worst and pray for the best. The second commandment is likened to it, and that is, it's the estate tax laws that are in place when you pass away that matter. The third, estate planning is more than taxes. We get lulled into thinking it's a tax issue, and it is if you're extremely wealthy, but what it is really, estate planning is who gets what, when they get it, and how they get it. And that is really what you want to do in your planning. Okay, the fourth commandment, don't forget income taxes on retirement accounts and state inheritance taxes. Those of you that are in states like Washington, 19%, New York, 16%, you need to understand those laws and how they impact your estate. Again, the solution is to get the estate analysis. Get in the queue while you are here at the show. Ron and I are going to be in the Salerno room the rest of the day after my presentations today. Come by and see us. Schedule an appointment with Ron and myself while you are here. Get in the queue. Get your estate started. We're not going to solve everything right here, but get it started so that you can get a logical plan in place. And again, go to the websites. So, mistake number 3, blindly leaving everything to your spouse because of portability. The new Tax Act allows for both credits to be used at any time. You don't have to have this AB credit shelter trust set up to utilize both exclusions. But don't get lulled into believing that's the way it should be, because you want to have the B trust frozen. You want to have perpetual control. You want to have asset protection, Medicaid planning, and dynasty planning, and most important, you want it to be your plan and not the government's plan. Okay, mistake number 4. Now, these are all in my book, The 10 Most Common Estate Planning Mistakes and How to Avoid Them, and you can pick this up by turning in the golden ticket into the room, the Salerno room, after you fill out the evaluation form. For you, those of you that are watching online, call our office, 800-223-9610, 800-223-9610, and call that number. I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong number. 888-892-1102. 888-892-1102. Those of you that are watching online, call that number and order the 10 most common estate planning mistakes and how to avoid them by virtue of the fact that you're watching this today. Well, anyway, mistake number 4. Paying too much on income taxes and capital gains. We know the taxes have just gone up, and there's a big concern about that. What should we do? Well, what can we do? Well, first of all, we know that taxes went up on the estate tax from 35 to 40. Income taxes went to 35 to 39 on the highest bracket. Capital gains went from 15 to 20. We have that Obama tax, the 3.8. So what's the solution? We need to find investments that are tax deductible. So tax deductible going in. We need to find investments that are tax deferred, because as we increase our profits, and if we have to pay taxes along the way, what it does is it puts us in a situation where we're caught. We're absolutely caught, and we have nowhere to go. So we need to be in a position where we can free up some of those taxes and not have taxes. We need to find investments that are tax-free, and they are out there. We need to find tax offset investments. And you need to understand what the family bank strategy is all about. Now, my next presentation, right after this one, is a seamless presentation. I'll be going right into it. I'm going to be discussing the family bank strategy and how it works. So I'm not going to spend any time on that today, right now. But you need to understand how that strategy works. That encompasses all of those tax-free qualifications that we discussed earlier. Mistake number 5, not properly using the IRS-approved annual gift time allowances. So as we know, the lifetime exclusion is $5.34 million, because I already told you that. What's the annual exclusion? That's right, it's $14,000 per person right now, and this year, and it was last year as well. So what a lot of people do is they either don't use that exclusion, or they don't use it properly, or they give it to the kids, and the kids have the money, and the money is right there, and they can just take the money willy-nilly as they want. And that's not really proper use of it. I like to recommend that you consider using the gift tax leverage coupon. Let's say I'm a male 65, which I am. My wife is 65, which she isn't, but close. And we have one son. The exclusion's $14,000 for me, $14,000 for my wife. Combined, that's $28,000. Rather than give him that money and say, Todd, figure it out, you could do what you want with it, take that and acquire a joint and last survivor life insurance policy. And what does that leverage do? That creates an instant estate and a perpetual estate of $3.265 million. Isn't that cool? Now, Todd doesn't get the $28,000, sure, right now, but at some point in time, because Jane and I are not going to make it through this life without passing away, he's going to receive $3.2 million. Now, the dynamics, I'm just using one son, but if you have several kids or several grandkids, you can see how the dynamics work and how you can create a generation of powerful, productive people. Not trust babies, because you can put conditions on that money. If you are this, if you are that, if you have achieved this, if you have done this, then you're able to receive that money. But it's important. This is using leverage. This is using the leverage that you have, this money that you have. Okay, the next mistake is not properly preparing for the exorbitant cost of long-term care. Right now, the average cost in the United States is $100,000 a year for a long-term care facility. That's the average. It says 90 on the slide, but it really is closer to 100. That's average care. How many of you have been in average care nursing homes? I don't want that. I want better than average, okay? And you know that 8 in 10 women will need long-term care prior to passing if they're over age 65 today? This is a huge thing, and our estate can be whittled away, and we can require of our children and our grandchildren to take care of us. This is not really what we want to do. Okay, subscription alert. Okay. Okay, oh, status check. Cancel, I'm gonna cancel it. Okay. Option 1, self-fund. That's, okay. Boo, we were going so good too. Okay, option 1, self-fund. Hopefully I got it. Self-fund. A lot of people say, well, I'm just going to have, I got this money set aside, kids. If tomorrow I wake up and I can't remember your name, okay, this money was set aside for you guys to take care of me. Okay, that's self-funding. And that's great, and it's awesome, but it needs to be in safe money. Where am I going to put it in safe money? CD, money market account? Hello. What are we doing there? So there's some alternatives. Next one is to buy a long-term care insurance policy. Very expensive, rates are going up, difficult to get, da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, and it's a use it or lose it proposition. If you don't use it, you never get any money back. Option 3, self-fund. So you take your self-funding money that you had and you put it into an annuity, especially if you're not insurable at all, your health is really bad. Put it into an annuity and have this, what's called a 2 times kicker benefit. So if you are going to a nursing home, the income that you're receiving from the annuity doubles. So if you're receiving $40,000 a year in income, and you go to a nursing home, it doubles to $80,000. Nice feature, and it's, again, part of the self-funding. No medical evidence is required for that. The next two I really like, though. The first one's called the hybrid long-term care combo strategy. And in this one, you take your money from your left pocket and you put it in your right pocket. It's still there. It's still an asset on your balance sheet. And that $100,000, if you can't do 2 of the 6 activities of daily living or you become cognitively impaired, this is the money that you set aside now, told the kids, okay, kids, this is money for me if I ever need it for long-term care. You put it in the annuity. You can't do 2 of the 6, or you're cognitively impaired, you can't remember their names. It expands to 3 to 5 times value instantly, okay, at that particular point in time. And it creates around $4,000 a month in income for $100,000. It's tax deferred, continues to accumulate, so that if you're in a situation where you pass away and you've never triggered the long-term care, you were one of the 20 or 30% that didn't trigger the long-term care benefit, whatever the money is in the annuity passes to the beneficiaries, and that's key because now it's not a use it or lose it proposition. And no medical exam is required for that plan. Okay. The next one I like just as well. It's the hybrid life long-term care plan. This one's awesome because what it does is it's going to create an estate for your kids and your family. Let's see, we go back up here. In this particular plan, you transfer the same idea. You either transfer a single sum or you do it on an annual deposit transfer. You have a life insurance component that's immediate. You have a long-term care that's derived from the life insurance component. So if you have a $500,000 life insurance policy, your long-term care benefit is 2% per month for 50 months or $10,000 a month. Since the Pension Protection Act of 2006, this plan is allowed to be distributed to you, the insured, before you pass away, income tax-free. So you're receiving tax-free money. And also with the annuity, that's tax-free as well. And an medical exam is optional. You can take an exam if you want to have a larger benefit. But the key is you're going to have some tax-free accumulation in this account. The hybrid strategies, the two, number 4 and 5, wealth transfers, easy to qualify, either life insurance or the account balance in the annuity goes to the beneficiary, and they're not use it or lose it propositions. Okay, mistake number 7. And I know I'm going really fast, so if any of these things, like you go, oh, well, this is something that I'd like to know more about that, make sure that you sign up with a consultation. Myself and Ron will be here today and tomorrow in the Salerno room, and just come and see us 15, 20 minutes. We can kind of get you in the queue and answer some of your questions. Mistake number 7, failure to not properly planning the distribution of your IRA. How many of you have IRA accounts? How many of you are doing required distributions? Okay, so the grayer, the more likely, okay? 70 and a half, you have to start taking money out of your IRA. It's a law. If you don't, you have to pay a 50% tax on that. So, but what's happening is that a lot of people are getting this money and they're going, dang it, I got to get this money. Now, there's some people that say, oh, I can't wait to get it. But there's others that, oh, I just don't want to have this. This is a burden for me. Well, rather than have it be a burden, there's a lot of things that you can do. Charities would love to have that. But the other thing is, so would your kids. And what I've done in my plan is I've set up a plan so that my required distribution, now I'm not 69 yet, I'm 70, but I'm taking my required distribution and I'm using some of it specifically for my grandkids. Not my kids, because my kids have other stuff, other insurance. But this is specifically for my grandchildren. And I'm taking that money and I'm leveraging it. Because 80% of all IRA money passes to a beneficiary. So you need to plan for that. Don't let your IRA become an IOU to the IRS. Obama right now in his latest budget put 4 principles that he's attacking on the IRAs. First of all, he wants a minimum distribution for IRAs and Roth IRAs. And Roth. And this isn't his budget now. That doesn't mean it's going to pass, but it's a wish list. He wants to eliminate the deduction for IRA contributions if your tax bracket is in the over 28%. He also wants to create a tax, 5-year tax called the 5-year rule for non-spousal beneficiaries. This is enormous. I pass my IRA to my wife, she gets to defer the tax, right, until she starts taking money out. And she can take it out piecemeal. She can take it out over her life expectancy, over her RMD. But if it goes to the kids, under the 5-year rule, they will have to pay taxes over a 5-year period of time. This bill was put inside a transportation bill in January of this year. It passed the House. It gets to the Senate, and the Senate goes, whoa, somebody must have read the bill. And they go, we can't have this. But it's been on the ledger for the last 5 years. We've only had the stretch where the kids can stretch it over their life expectancy since 2006. So don't get too comfortable with this one. I would, if I had an IRA, well, I do, but if I had an IRA that was $1 million or more, I would make sure that there was a distribution strategy in place. And the next one is the IRA size. He wants to reduce it to $3.2 million. Okay, so what can we do? What's our strategy? Well, I believe that the RMD leverage strategy is the #1 top strategy. So take that IRA, and let's just use this example of a 75-year-old and a 70-year-old husband and wife, and he has an IRA of $500,000. His required distribution this year is $15,700. That's what it is this year. Now remember, every year it goes up as long as the account balance stays either the same or greater. So take that gifting allowance, remember the gift allowance, the leverage coupon that we talked about, take that, gift this to the kids, grandkids or whatever, buy a joint and survivor life insurance policy for $1.23 million, and have that required distribution be used to fund that, since you weren't going to use it anyway. So rather than just have this $15,000 come down and be wasted, use it and leverage it. It's a fabulous idea, and your children and your grandchildren and your great-great-grandchildren will bless your names forever because you've helped them. You've helped take care of them. Okay. Solution. Review your beneficiary forms on your IRAs. We saw one the other day where the ex-wife was the beneficiary of the IRA, and they had the couple had been married for 25 years. So you make sure that the beneficiary forms are looked at. Get your estate analyzed through the Estate Planning Solutions Suite and the estate analysis that we offer. Do the multi-generation transfer if you can, and the RMD leverage strategy. Those are key strategies. Okay, now we have some folks that are coming in for the next talk, so come on in. Make sure you see Ron in the back here to get the form, evaluation form, and just sit down and make yourself comfortable. Okay, we're going to go seamlessly into the next talk, but we're going to talk about the next 2 mistakes. Lacking liquidity to cover estate taxes and settlement expenses. Assets, one of the problems that we have is assets normally are not liquid, and they're exposed to market vulnerability. And most Americans are uninsured, and the tax bracket is now at 40%, and the state on inheritance tax. So the question is, which assets will be sold first to pay the tax liability? Well, I like the idea of the wealth creation strategy. Again, similar to the leverage strategy, but you can see here a 70-year-old depositing $16,000 a year creates $1 million tax-free. It's pretty important. It's a pretty one-dimensional plan. And so what I like to do is I like to use that same idea, but we fuel it with the family bank strategy, which is what we're going to talk about. And I'm just going to zip through these here because our next presentation is on the family bank strategy. Okay, so mistake number 9, estate shrinkage due to investment losses. Who knows who this guy is? Your favorite uncle, right? Bernie Madoff. I hope none of you have got burned by him, but I'm sure some of you have. And there are guys out there that want your money, want to take your money. And you need to find a place to invest your money. But I don't think the roulette wheel here in Caesars is the answer. And I don't think stuffing it under the mattress is the answer either. So where should you invest? Well, I recommend that you pick up my son's latest book. Steve, you're going to be excited about this. The Future of Retirement Savings. Todd Phillips, my son, just finished this book. It's off the press, finally. I didn't bring any with me because it's so hot off the press. They weren't in the office yesterday, but they are today. The Future of Retirement Savings. And he talks about this very, very issue here that we're going to talk about safety, but also upside potential. So you want to have a situation where you're investing in the right place. If you want to pick up Todd's book, just fill out this form. We have some in the back. I have some up here. And fill out the form, turn it in to Ron or myself over in the Salerno room, and we'll pre-order the book for you, okay? And we'll send them to you as soon as we have them. Okay, so here's the deal. Let's say I have an investment account, and I have $100,000, and I put it into the S&P 500. This is what's going to happen from 1999 to 2013. If I took that same $100,000 and I put it into an indexed annuity or an indexed universal life where I cannot suffer any of the losses, I only get to participate in the gains, never get to participate in the losses. Look what would have happened to that $100,000 had it have been invested in an indexed annuity versus the S&P 500. And you can see as time goes on, and you guys all live these experiences. I mean, we as a generation have lost 49% of our investments twice since 2000. So we know that can happen, 49% since 2000. But with the indexed annuity, our net return at the end of the period of time here from 1999 to 2013 would have been over $230,000. Pretty cool compared to the S&P 500, because you do not get to participate in any of the losses. Any gains that you have are locked in. So this is a good place to put your safe money. I wouldn't say put all of your at-risk money here, but you need to focus on putting some of it in an indexed annuity or indexed universal life. Okay, mistake number 10, and our last mistake for right now, is we need to make sure that our property is held correctly. Do not put your house in the name of one of your children while you're alive. Okay? Why is that? Because if they get sued, if they get attached by the IRS, you can get booted. So make sure that you have that ownership correctly in place. Most importantly, leave a legacy, a financial legacy, a historical legacy. Let the grandkids know what's going on, where you are, what you want, what your plans are, your strategies. Have a plan in place, a logical plan, a defined plan. And as I said, make sure that you visit with myself or Ron. I'm going to be speaking tomorrow at the Milano room with Jeffrey Verdon, and Mark Skousen is going to moderate. It's an estate planning roundtable, and we'll see how it goes. It's the first time we've done this. Jeff Verdon's one of the best estate planning attorneys in the world, let alone the country. And he'll be there, and I'll be there, and we'll be talking, answering your questions. That's tomorrow at 9:15 in the Milano room, I guess right here. And the other thing that I wanted to emphasize to you is that if you can, stop by and visit with us and schedule an appointment for me so we can talk about your estate. And fill out the evaluation form to receive the golden ticket. Okay, so you get the golden ticket, and then you come to the Salerno room and turn it in, and you receive my book, The 10 Most Common Estate Planning Mistakes. I love this slide. I've been here for 11 years, and my will is still in probate. Make sure you get a plan, a logical plan in place, and that's really the most important part of it. Okay, so let's go to our next presentation. Where is my AV guy? Okay, the next presentation